Good evening, Music Multiverse listeners. This is Beyond Your Radio, and tonight is episode 3 of That's Your Band Name. This show allows any and all panelists and contributors to join us to talk about some band names that might be simply outrageous, kind of cool. Maybe they made a big splash by having it. Where did it get them? What happened? Did their band name lead to their success, lead to their fall? Did the name really match the band? Anything goes on this show almost, all right? But if someone does put something out there they don't like, they will be penalized and sent to the penalty box for further disciplinary actions. So based on tonight's panel, which has Alex and Jeff and myself, 3 of us, we're going to go 3 rounds of 3. Well, you know what I mean. Each of the panelists will divulge one at a time. When we're done, we'll hopefully have taught you something about a band that you didn't know about, or something obscure, something ridiculous, any old thing. So just to make everyone aware, once again, due to copyright and demonetizations with YouTube, we will not attempt to play any music. Now, again, if a band is out there, like one of them we're going to mention tonight, who would love to have a conversation, we would certainly indulge that and scrap the whole who cares about the money thing. So without further ado, we'll let Alex kick us off. Oh, we will mention that we'll thank Mr. Chef Jeff, who sent the 42-inch television, because he said he was pissed off because he couldn't read a damn thing that was on the screen behind me. So anyway, go ahead, Alex.
All right. Well, first up here, gonna with 3 popular ones here, but this time did a little bit of backlog research and tried to find some names that were well-known bands, but a little bit original. So first one up, we'll go with Naked Toddler, also known as Creed. I will definitely say that is one that a little interesting. When you think Creed, you think a little bit of a religious, spiritual undertone to it. So Naked Toddler definitely, depending on what side of the joke you want to land on, doesn't fit. But overall, I would definitely say, is in terms of success and popularization, that the name change was definitely well worth it. So I would say these guys are well known. Haven't really, well, we've talked a little bit about some of their recent stuff that they've come out with, in terms of the solo stuff for Scott. And that was my first one that I kind of stumbled upon, was seeing that Creed had a different name, which I was not expecting at first. But I guess like all bands in the 90s, everyone goes through a transformation at some point. And
yeah, I don't believe they spent much time with that name. They, I think some people get, there's no question that they might be the most successful band of that era, selling copy wise.
And you would have to think that if they would have kept that name, not even close to that at all.
Probably not. I mean, I want to say the first album sold 11 million copies. That's a monumental amount of records. Then the next one sold 8 or 9 million.
Well, they have performances too, where I think recently they were just playing a Nashville Predators playoff game in the last few years, and everyone remembers their monumental performance on Thanksgiving Day for the Dallas Cowboys game, with the popular rendition of "With Arms Wide Open" and the people swinging for hire from the top of the Cowboy Stadium down through and stuff, the acrobats. So they definitely exceeded their name in terms
I might have been asleep for that.
You might have been asleep.
Yeah.
Well, I always thought that, if you wind up playing the NHL All-Star game, you might want to rethink your allegiances to your marketing department.
Well, one of the greatest memes to ever come from them playing it was a playoff game in Nashville.
Oh, was it? Okay.
But it was during COVID. They had the plexiglass around them.
Okay.
And someone goes, I don't know if the plexiglass is there to protect them from COVID, or if someone's trying to assassinate Creed.
I thought maybe it was "With Arms Wide Open, you're going to give me the line. I will also say that Scott Stapp had a very unique relationship. I think at one point he was going to be the singer for the Tea Party after Jeff Martin's exit.
Really?
At that point, yeah, there was that. I can't remember where that rumor came or how that discussion came about, but I remember hearing it multiple times. But I mean, great voice, absolutely fantastic voice. Really, I mean, it fit. So yeah, good pick, Alex. I kind of forgot what their name was prior to.
That was a band that I don't think gets talked about much, so I wanted to throw them right in off the leadoff spot here.
Yep. Jeff.
So I picked Billy Talent, but they were first known as Pez, P-E-Z-Z. What's interesting about, like, when I first heard Billy Talent, I was like, oh, Billy Talent, cool. So like a lot of people, I'm like, oh, that must be the lead singer's name, Billy Talent. But it's not. There's nobody in the band named Billy Talent.
No.
Billy Talent is actually taken from a character in Hardcore Logo. So in the book, which became a movie, one of the guitarists is Billy Talent, which is actually spelled with 2 L's.
So the movie Hardcore Logo.
Yeah, which originally was a story, like a written
with
book.
with Hugh Dillon.
Yeah.
How come I don't remember that?
I don't know. I didn't know about it until I read about it.
Wow. Okay,
Kinda
so
cool.
for anybody who knows or doesn't know, I'll just go over this quickly. Hugh Dillon is the lead singer of the Headstones. Hugh Dillon's a pretty charismatic individual. Became an
He's on
actor.
TV too. He's like on Yellowstone and all.
Yeah, he's had multiple. Actually, the longest running series he was on was where he was. They were in a sniper team or whatever. What was it called?
I forget the name of that show. One of those major network shows.
Yeah. Oh, God, it'll come to me maybe during the show. But anyway, funny story. I think you were with me definitely. We were at the Trout, right? Back in the early '90s.
Yeah.
Alphamador Cafe. So one of our buddies, Alex, was working for Icon Productions at the time. And he booked them to play, and the Morgan Field's open. And were there 10 of us there? 12? It grew a little bit. There was no.
If you include the bartenders, there might have been.
But I mean, here, I don't know if anybody knows the Headstones, but if you ever go look back at old performances, Hugh Dillon was a monster on stage and a total presence, Anyway, our buddy says after the show, he goes, "Hey, you want to go drinking with you and the band?" And I'm like, "No, I value my life. I really don't want to go." And I'll tell you right now, we should have went because it might have been.
I do regret that, but then I think to myself, well, maybe it was a good thing I didn't go. But then you just never know, right?
Well, it would have been great. Like every time because we must have seen them, I don't know how many times over the Thanksgiving times when they would always come down. But truly, I did not know that. And that's it. By the way, Hardcore Logo is a very good movie. Hugh Dillon plays Joe Dick in a fictional. Was it a fictional punk band?
I don't think they were completely fictional. I think it was based on like a real.
Oh, it's based on Well, anyway, Hugh Dillon does this like crazy justice. Fantastic acting, and it's really, really big. And Quentin Tarantino approached him to make the U.S. version, and everything fell apart. But could have been cool. Excellent choice. Wow, good one. And the Hardcore Logo. There's 2 different soundtracks. Both are excellent ones. All the Headstones doing the soundtrack, and then a bunch of Canadian bands doing the covers.
But I'm sure there's people that even go to the shows today that are like, "Oh, that must be Billy Talent." Which one is Billy? It must be the singer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same thing when I first heard them, and ironically enough, I had that saved for next week. Should that have not come up today? So.
Oh, okay. Your volume's a little low, Alex.
Let's see if I can bump headphones in here.
All right. For me, I am going to go with my theme. Well, let's see if you catch on. We'll let it go. So, So the obviously, they have been around an incredibly long time.
Couldn't name a single song.
And that's kind of an oddity when you think about it, right? So here's a band that formed in 1976 7 or so, and actually released a record last year, which was a live, not last year, 2021, which was called The Comeback. It was a double live. I actually bought it. I own it because I wanted to get, like, I remember them. I remember them being like a post-punk band. And, I maybe not Susan the Banshee, Velvet Underground and Sid Barrett. And I remember him, the lead guy who's always been in the band, Matt Johnson, that he said big into like Throbbing Gristle, stuff like that. So this is a band that's only meant as a small niche audience. Even in the UK, I think the best they ever had in a day, was like number 4 or number 2 in the UK, and that's like the album Mind Bomb and Dusk, which were from 89 and 93. I have some of them. The one interesting thing about that is they didn't chart in the United States anything beyond like 148 or something. So they did not catch on in the United States. We'll call it a cult following. But it's good music. It's well put together. It's post-punk. The lyrics are they go up and down from a standpoint of kind of grimy to fun and realistic in a way.
That must be why I never heard them on Dick Clark or Ryan Seacrest Top 140. If they were 155.
No. They didn't win American Idol. So
You didn't hear the? Did you just stutter? No.
The who? I don't.
No, not them.
Another problem with finding this band is if you type the band, what do you think you're gonna get? Huh? The band.
Oh yeah.
We could probably have a discussion about probably the worst band name ever. That's too simple and good luck, and what a great band.
But they are the band.
They are the band.
The one. They're the only one.
Right, like the one guy on YouTube, he's the hockey guy. You can't take that from him. You just. Anyway, I'll get back to Alex now for his next.
So we'll go with the boys entertaining anarchist states towards inner excellence, as they once described themselves to claim what the Beastie and Beastie Boys was. But the original name for this group, the Young Aborigines, or I'm totally butchering that, but either way, it's
Aborigines.
Aborigines. There we go. So
You're going to the penalty box, Alex.
I'm glad they changed the name because that explains everything right there for me on how I would have taken that. So
correct.
The group that I didn't realize was as old as they were. I did not realize they dated back to the late 70s, and really honestly makes me think about with their hip hop roots, how much they've really transcended everything. Going through the 80s with this, it wasn't really a hugely popular thing until, the 90s. And granted, License to Ill being what it was for them, and being in the mid 80s and catching a little bit of popularity later on too. It's pretty cool looking back on this band just because they're able to transcend both hip hop and rock. I think they're one of the first to really, in a popular sense, do it. And I always associated in my childhood with them being in the 90s, and this is a group that was long before that. So I was able to do a little digging back and learning on these guys.
Yeah, they were certainly influenced, I think, by Grandmaster Flash. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure in that realm. I think this was like Run DMC and Aerosmith. This is kind of we'll call it street, New York City street hip hop. Back, I don't know. Maybe I'm terrible at genre meddling, but they were the first people to get a rock ear to listen to something that wasn't quite rock. And one of the things that rock aficionados or musicians are always offended by is the lack of instrument, right?
And they were a converted hardcore punk band.
Are we talking about Beasties?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of good documentaries on that you guys should check out. They're probably on YouTube. But yeah, definitely very influential.
And I mean, New York City would, that was their scene. They owned it.
And they were a demographic that you didn't expect that type of music to come from, in terms of being just three guys of a Jewish background. That's typically not where that style of music comes.
They have a
They're
great.
still influencing people today.
They did a great entrance one time on Dave Letterman where they played "Check It Out," and they start out in the streets of New York, and then like walking down the streets, and they want to eventually walk into the studio in front of everybody, and it's done really well. Like especially for that time, it's like you're probably holding giant cameras, walking with them and stuff. But it was done really well.
Well, and Letterman kind of did a lot of that too with other people as well. I believe Chris Farley did a skit with him too as well at one point with that, where he ran outside and threw someone in the trash, ran back in. Yeah, Letterman's really good with some of that stuff too, with the little side skits like that.
All right. Mr. Jack.
Which one do you got behind you? Oh, so Operation Mindcrime. It's a band that I just go, why would you name yourself that? Like on the surface, if you didn't know anything about Queensryche or anything else, like it might sound good, but Queensryche's 1988 album, Operation Mindcrime, was awesome. And never mind the fact that it was just one of the most popular concept albums because the whole thing's a story.
Correct.
But then, it's like, okay, you had a great album and it's one of your most acclaimed albums, but okay, so Jeff Tate wants to go solo or do something different. Why are you naming your new band after your most successful album? Like it just seems lame. Like figure it out or just call yourself Jeff Tate. I don't know, it just seemed lame to me. And like I think there was a couple albums, but I couldn't name a single song. I don't think, maybe if he plays solo, he plays one or two songs, at a show, but I just thought it was just a really lame idea. Like it just like give it a rest. Everyone like don't force your biggest moment in your life upon me all the time. Like I love the album, but like just let me see it as the album. Don't name your band, don't name your kids after it, don't name your dog after it, wherever,
I've got a tattoo on my ass of it. No, I didn't. I will say this: it is probably one of the best, or if not the best, metal concept album ever. There's no question. The playing on it is fantastic. I think maybe the production's dated now. For now, I gotta go back. But to Jeff Tate hadn't made a good record until he just became Jeff Tate. In my opinion, I don't remember any of those albums, and I certainly don't remember any of the Queensryche records.
Right. I know I have them because you downloaded them for me, and I never listened to it.
Yeah, I would get them, and I'd be like kind of excited because, Operation Mindcrime, fantastic record. They made other great records too.
Yeah, Empire.
Followed it up with Empire. Empire was ridiculous. I mean, that probably sold 11, 12 copies. But see, this is this thing with the sum of the parts greater than the whole, right? There are bands today or bands from yesterday looking back that did this and separated, and you just go, probably wasn't the greatest idea for anybody. Didn't work.
Alex, do you know Queensryche at all?
Oh yeah. Actually, another one that was popular for playing in this area at those summer concert series.
That was a great year for 1988. I was saying was the album. That was a great year. Like I saw Queensryche open in the Odd for Metallica for the Injustice for All tour. Killer.
Oh. The amount of concerts that have passed through the Odd alone that I've heard were killer shows.
Sound in the Odd could have been better.
You wouldn't know it by how many people played there, though.
Oh, the list goes on and on. I can say none of my concerts at the Odd were monumental. I mean, like if I mentioned it, you'd be like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." But that one that Jeff said, that's fantastic. There are a bunch of those that went on in that venue. Okay, it's gonna be really evident what my theme for tonight is. Pigs, 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 pigs. Not just one pig, not two pigs. Can't do can't do pig, pig. 3 little pigs, pig, pig, pig. No, we're gonna go 7 pigs.
Pigs of the 7th power.
Yes, and if you can't really see the band out there, but they're sitting in front of a smorgasbord of sorts. So what is pigs, pigs, pigs? Well, this is stoner doom rock, we'll call it. Has a psychedelic hint to it. This is a band that's actually been around a few years. They've got a few albums. I want to say at the beginning, they're English band. They kind of have that long, drawn out riffing that goes on. That's kind of symbolic of that type of music. They do hold it together pretty well. The vocals, in my opinion, are kind of held under some sort of trickery. I don't know what they call it, like buzz to elevate it. I don't think there's a whole lot of like he couldn't get up there and wail. I think it's kind of trickery. But I've seen the live performance things and it still sounds kind of the same. So the albums are Feed the Rats in 2012, King of the Cowards in 2018, Viscerals 2020, which I thought was really good. And then just this year, Land of Sleeper 2023. And this is getting a little bit of talk on the Twitter organizations that love the psychedelic doom rock. I follow these guys. They're a lot of fun. There's always some tidbit going out. You got to check this out, man. Oh, it rocks hard. And okay, I'm in. Whatever. I'm clicking. Let me try it out. So pigs, 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 pigs. And if you type it, Google will give you enough pigs so that you can find it.
I'm waiting for their next album that we really like bacon.
Too much bacon. Too much bacon. Alex, back to you.
So another band that people like, and this is one that I didn't expect. Well, we could go on about Blink 182, the band's name itself. The name itself, which I stumbled upon a Mark Hoppus interview that said that they have come up with many reasons why the 182 is what it is, from the Hoppus saying it was his ideal weight to it was the World War II ship number that his grandfather was on, to how many times Al Pacino said the word fuck in the movie Scarface. All things that they've said in the past are by the 182. Really, it was just a random throw-in. But initially named Blink, obviously a little backstory to that. Someone came after them, European band named Blink, and they needed to throw the 182 on. Known before that as Duct Tape.
I could get into some duct tape. That might be good.
Then they got sued by Blinky. They got sued by Blinky, the ghost from Pac-Man, too.
Well, who was chasing who in that battle?
Yeah.
But no, so going from, double side of it, needing to change their name from a common object such as duct tape, being pressed for that, and then on the spot coming up with Blink 182 in short notice. And then obviously that's another one that just has a lot of randomness to it. So obviously
Alex,
three popular bands to go with, but
Alex, didn't they name it Duct Tape as like the actual duck bird, not a duct T-U-C-T?
Yes, it was.
I was
duck
curious about that.
quack,
I was just about to. Yeah,
which I think they also went as the name Figure Eight in that same time period, and they were just kind of floating around before popularity with names. So, but the Duct Tape one got me because actually as a kid, that's probably what I called it as well, not realizing there was a T at the end of that.
There are just out of curiosity, there are 2 bands with the actual typing of duct tape, not D-U-C-K. One is duct tape as one word, and one is duct tape as 2 words. Duct tape as one word seems to be a male-female kind of synth pop band, but that's only I can tell by the cover. I may wind up having to listen to it now because I just went down that rabbit hole. And the other one, which only has, I think, 15 subscribers, probably won't tell me much. It's a studio recording, so in case anybody was thought duct tape was a cool name, because I thought so. Obviously, Blink 182 worked out pretty well for them. Right?
Yeah, I would definitely say on the unique side too.
I tolerate, therefore I am. I don't think I have a Blink 1. I might have one record by accident, or I got it for 99 cents.
I like them.
Mr. Jeff, tell me what time it is.
I was gonna do 6 a.m. I almost called an audible on this and went with STP, but I guess I'll stick with 6 a.m. since it's there.
Since I did all the graphical work, yeah, please.
Yeah, great job. Really, the only reason I picked 6 a.m. was because I just think it's lame that Nikki Sixx named his band 6 a.m. as a side project. I mean, everyone's gonna when you tour, everyone's gonna go, I'm going to see Nikki Sixx. You're not going to see it. I'm going to see 6 a.m. Well, maybe you are, but I just think it's lame. I don't really have any other reason to pick this band other than that. I basically just think it's a lame name.
See, I would take the counter argument to that. I would say rather than just naming your band after yourself, why not put a pun on your last name there? And at least people know, oh, I'm probably going to see Nikki Sixx at this point. Oh, the band's name is 6 a.m. Huh, probably could have figured that out myself.
It's okay to be wrong.
So I gotta ask. I think I have the one record. Is there two records? I think I don't know. Maybe.
I think there might be two.
Is there anybody else?
They're
in the
not.
band?
It's not bad music. It's not bad.
No,
I mean,
but is there anybody else in the band I should know?
I'd have to look it up.
I'm about to right now.
Because I mean, Nikki Sixx is you know, a standard. You know, it's gonna be that metal sound. It's gonna have it.
Yeah, and he's the
Right.
frontman, the singer.
Yeah. I mean, because you look back at Creed, right? And I forgot to even mention this. That's Tremonti in Creed, right? He's been in Alter Bridge, his own band Tremonti. If that's even how it's said, I don't know. I have both the records. They're pretty cool. I mean, he's a
So
songwriter.
it seems like the other two that were in this group with them, someone titled DJ Ashba, who has worked with hard rock bands in the past. He was their lead guitarist for 6 a.m. Has worked with Drowning Pool in the past, Neil Diamond, Guns N' Roses, but I'm assuming in some sort of background role, so to speak.
So does it?
and then,
if I remember, does this have like that post-hardcore kind of?
well, and then the lead singer says is known as a sound engineer and mixer on top of a record producer and a songwriter. So he's worked with rock and pop recording artists such as Kelly Clarkson, Alanis Morissette, Meatloaf, Motley Crue, Hilary Duff, the Exies, Saliva, Trapped, Papa Roach, Sammy Hagar, Hailstorm, Jack's Mannequin, just to name a few. And Victoria Justice. So a hell of a diverse group there.
That's a resume.
But that is one that, put it together, and we still really only know one guy on that.
So Jeff, keep your Audible, right?
What's that?
Keep your Audible for next time.
You want? Yeah, no problem.
Okay, and just in case you're going, I was going to go with David. I guess it's up to me. This is the end, right? Yes, people. There is a band called Shitty Band. How did I find it? Because again, I was looking at this doubles. I had Man. I had, oh my God, I had tons of stuff. All these people that doubled their names. Some of them tripled their names. Hell, I could even gone back to last week when I had 3 exclamation points. So Shitty Band is from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I have no idea who's in this band. I don't think they want to be known. I know that they have opened and played for certain bands, people. Honestly, the record called something Egyptians. Damn it. Hang on, I'll give you the real name. Shoot, I hate when I do that.
Now, Jeff, what's worse, 6 a.m. or Shitty Band?
Reformed Egyptians. Okay, 40 minutes worth of music that is hard to explain. They kind of travel in this prog, jam rock, jazz, fusion rock. They got a vocalist female that's kind of does that kind of cooing screechiness. I don't know if that's how you describe it, but it's good. It goes along with the melody. But the songs are completely lopsided and different, and they're going high tempo, low tempo. I think there's Spanish in the one song. Hang on, am I right about that? Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. I could have swore I think there was some sort of change of complete. And then if you go on Amazon.com, and I'm going to read this because I didn't believe.
Not familiar with that site.
No, not a lot of people. They should be out of business anytime soon. Let me go to that. So now I can't. It's a book, and this woman talks about the band. Oh, now I'm gonna be.
This really is one shitty band.
I think the music was actually pretty good, but I was
I doubt
taken
it.
back by the name.
I'll take their word for it.
Well, anyway, if you look it up, it says something about how they're aliens from another planet playing this music. So what did they just do recently? They have just covered, like, I think it was this year or this past year. It's this year. They covered Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. So I can't get it yet. You can only get it on Bandcamp. But once I can listen to it, I will see if that is any. I think the musicianship is fantastic. So it's pretty good. There's some familiarity to it from, like I said, that jam and jazz rock, fusion rock. But yeah, to name your band, shitty band. Even if you type it in Google, Google wants to correct it to Chitty Bang Bang. And
I hope they copyrighted that.
yes, I hope. Yes, there's gonna be people. So with that being said, I'm happy with today's episode because I accomplished this whole idea of like those doubles and triples and quads, and then I'd see Alex kind of went back on what you were doing with the bands having this name that they didn't stick with, which is pretty cool too. So there's so much that we can do with this. I enjoy the hell out of it. It's an easy show too. We don't have to listen to album after album after album unless you're as crazy as I am. So I want to thank my panelists, Jeff and Alex, for this episode of That's Your Band Name. Hopefully it has exposed some new music, as well as some oddities and discussions. Obviously, we tripped over some of those that are really popular and found out some things we didn't know. We'll do this again in 2 weeks with our panels with more selections and oddness. We're on the web at www.beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Of course, please like, comment, and click that subscribe button. The faster we get to 1,000, the faster I can pay for my CD addiction. Music Bites was just released by Chef Jeff. He took on Eat a Peach by the Allman Brothers and did a appetizer, dinner, and dessert there. There is another one coming that he just finished and I got the recipes and everything from. That'll be out soon. Album review Saturday, and which last week, if you didn't catch this last Saturday, I did review Nothing But Canadians. It was M. Greiner and her new album, Business and Pleasure. The Gord Downey and Bob Rock rocker called Luster Parfait, which, if you read my article, made me cry. And also the band Grandson, which who knows, maybe might be on this show. Happy listening, everyone.